Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello. Welcome everybody to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. Today, I have such a special guest who I'm so excited to have on here. I've been trying to get her on. She lives a very busy life, and so I'm thankful that we're able to make this connection work. My guest is Gina Nichols, and let me tell you a little bit about Gina. Gina is a certified divorce coach and the founder of Gina Nichols Coaching, where she helps women navigate the emotional roller coaster of divorce and rediscover who they are on the other side. Having lived through the complexities of multiple divorces and blending families herself, Gina brings both professional and real-life experience to her work. She specializes in guiding women as they work through grief, shame, and guilt, empowering them to move forward with clarity and confidence. While her primary focus is divorce recovery, Gina also supports clients facing the challenges of co-parenting, always with the goal of keeping kids at the center, not in the middle. When she's not coaching, Gina is passionate about redefining what divorce can look like, proving it can be the start of something powerful rather than the end. She's a mom, a stepmom, and a wife who loves spending her downtime doing Pilates, working out, traveling, and loving on her grandbabies. Thank you, Gina. I'm so excited you're here today.
Thank you. Me too.
I think that what you share is so powerful. And I just wanted for you to just kind of walk us through who you are, how you became the woman that you are today, and what got you into coaching.
Well, I've always thought that my story was dumb, right? Like you see these people that have these great stories of overcoming so many things. And I always thought mine is just, I can't keep a relationship together, right? And so I just dealt with so much shame because there's a lot of people that have had a divorce. There's a lot of people that maybe have had two divorces, but I've been divorced 3 times, married 4 times. And when that one was struggling, I thought, I really have to figure this out. And it has to be something with me. Obviously, I'm kind of the common denominator in this. And so I had done a lot of therapy. I had done therapy off and on for 30 years. But I really, when I found coaching, and I went through the coaching, that was really what opened my eyes a lot to healing, doing a lot of that inner child work and healing all that stuff from when I was a really little kid. And what's interesting is a lot of that has really been coming up since I've been doing that.
So I think that that's really important is that a lot of times people want to blame everybody else. And what you said was something that most people wouldn't say is that you felt that the common denominator was you.
Mhm.
And you felt that because it's me, what am I going to do for that? And that's like what my podcast is about, right? How do I refine and shine? And how do my guests refine and shine in order to make ourselves better? So tell us through, talk to us about the healing process and what that's all about, and how do you help others go through the healing process?
Well, I went through the 180 life coaching, and that again does it's a lot of healing. It's a lot of going back and uncovering things, in your childhood and what your core beliefs about yourself are, and what just the whole, it's a long process, and it just does a lot of healing. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just I dealt with so much shame, and I didn't want to say I've been divorced 3 times. And sometimes you will hear people talking and they'll say that, like, oh, not necessarily about me, but if they don't know my story, and then they'll say, oh, well, she's been divorced however many times, or what, it's almost like it negates anything that you might have to offer, because it's seen as something that is shameful. And so I had to do a lot of healing work around that shame and that guilt about, putting my kids through things, or whatever. So I think it's been a long process, but it's been really, really good.
I think what you said was really important is that people are going to judge you before they even know you. And that's because they can just read something that says, she's been married 4 times, divorced 3 times, whatever. And I think that that's what's really important is that people do not need to judge before they even know the person, right? And it's really hard for us to walk through and let people know that who we are is not what may be written about us or may not be what is said about us. Like learn who I am by my character and how I display myself. And I think that that's really important. And you do that remarkably well. And so tell us a little bit about how you started to have your voice and share about the things that you're going through and so that you can help others.
Well, I knew I really wanted to do the coaching. Once I went through the program, I thought I could really see myself doing this. But it was getting over that hurdle. But I would say then, but I don't want to say I've been married 3 times, or divorced 3 times. I don't want to say that. I don't, I just, so I couldn't get my voice out there. And then I did a virtual summit, and I just told my story. And I had so much positive feedback. I had so many women saying, that's happened to me too. I've been married X amount of time. So many people. And I thought, the statistics, if you just want a few statistics, people, first time divorce is 40 to 50% of first time marriages. Second marriages, 60 to 67%, and third marriages, 73 to 74% of third marriages fail. So, and I'm on number 4. We've been married, this year will be 20 years. So we've just, gritted it through, and having both of us have been through the coaching now. So that's really, really helped a lot, but it was hard. And I think if we're not willing to do the work, people bring so much into relationships, so much stuff from their childhood. I just did a blog about this. I was bullied really bad as a kid, and it really affected from like 3 years old, and it really profoundly affected how I viewed myself and the worth that I thought I had or didn't have. And it caused me to act in ways and have relationships that were not good for me. And so I think that doing the healing work around that specific thing. You know, there's a lot of different things that we need to heal in our lives. And so I think that was really, really important.
I think that I think that what you say is, I can see that in my own life where, I'm a product of a divorce. My parents divorced, and my husband and I are high school sweethearts, and not normally do high school sweethearts last that long. We're almost together 30 years. We did wait a long time to get married, so we just hit, I think, 21 years of marriage. I don't know. We stopped counting. Yeah, it's 21 years of marriage. Um, but it's not been always easy. And what I think that you said is really important is that you guys both did the work together. And for you and your husband to be married for, 20 years on the fourth marriage for yourself, which is, like you said, the statistics is like 70 something percent. But you both have to do the work. And that's what's so important in relationships. It's a relationship of people, you and your partner, not you single-handedly trying to do all the work. You have to make sure that you're working together on that relationship. And I think that that's so important. And as well as working on the children, making sure that you said you have a blended family and, you have children and all the things. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do when you're coaching to help parents understand not to put their child, it's about the children and not, I think you said not to put them in the middle. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So I have, so my oldest daughter is from my second marriage. My first marriage was quick, 6 months. One of those that it was like, that should never have really happened, but it did. No kids, But my second marriage, I had my daughter, and then he left when she was about 5 months old. And so I'm a single mom with a new baby. I mean, it was really, really traumatic. And I think she took on a lot of that as well. And I wanted to make him pay. And he was in a new relationship while we were still together. And so that was so hard. And I didn't want my daughter to be with this other person. I didn't want them to have, and so I was trying to make it very, very difficult. And I remember going to see my lawyer at the time, and I just said, he's such a blank. And he said, I have no doubt that he is, but you can never say that in front of her, because if you say that to her, then she's going to think, well, I'm half of him, I must be that too. And that's been 30 years ago, but it struck me so hard that I thought, I love her more than I dislike him. I love my kids more than any other relationship, than anything else. And from that point on, I was just committed to making this work. And now I get along great with them. I really get along great with her stepmom. She's really fun. And my daughter has a great relationship with her. They went on to get married, and they had 3 kids. And so that's worked out really well. And then my other 3 are from my third marriage. And we were married about 5 years, and then it was just a lot for him to handle all these kids, and just a lot of, that's his story, but so it didn't work. And then my husband, now he has 2 kids, and that was also a very contentious divorce, and he didn't see his girls for about 10 years. And so, I've seen all sides of it. I've seen what happens when the parents are putting them in the middle and using them against each other. And it's just so harmful, and it's not worth it. And I always say this, like, a kid can never have too much love. They can never have too many people to love them. And especially in this world, like, the world is tough. And so if they have several soft places to fall and several people that are cheering them on, and I was so fortunate with my older daughter's stepmom, she loved her. And sometimes that was hard, but also I would have to think, it could be the opposite. It could be so much worse. And so I'm really grateful for that.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Feeling overwhelmed by endless to-do lists and constant distractions? You're not alone. Many professionals and entrepreneurs struggle with never-ending tasks that spill into personal time, difficulty prioritizing what's truly important, a lack of clear structure in their daily routines. Well, let me introduce you to your Unlock Your Time Potential program, an 8-week coaching program designed to help you reclaim your time and boost productivity. What you will gain is proven strategies to manage your day effectively, techniques to eliminate distractions and stay focused, tools to align your daily actions with your long-term goals. Ready to take control of your time? Join the waitlist today and be the first to know when enrollment opens. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your productivity and achieve your goals. Check out the link in the summary notes. I love what you shared. I mean, it's so important. And going back to the beginning where you said, where our children are a reflection of us. And if you are to think badly or talk badly about the parent, then the child's going to take that in. And I've seen a lot of people suffer from that and deal with that emotional and that somewhat will call it baggage that they were told that their parent was this or and so they grew up their lives thinking that they must be that too because their dad or their mom or whatever it may be is like that. And so we as parents, and even like eventually I'll be a grandmother, and we'll have to make sure if relationships don't work out, how I talk to, how to be respectful and not talk bad about others, because one, shouldn't judge. I don't know the story. I'm not part of it. But also just to make sure that we just love our children, our grandchildren, and all of the things, because, the odds of a child being born is, I don't know the statistics, but I know that it's nowadays it seems like less and less, people are struggling with infertility and all these other things.
Mhm.
And just to have that child and making sure that we share love and just love on them, I think is so
Yes.
important, because that affects. And the more that I've learned and been through my personal development and coaching and healing, it's like you go back into that inner child and think, man, there's a lot of things that went on in my life and that really affected me, and I held on to a lot of stuff for so long, and to have to heal. And it's like, this is something they should teach when you're young. Like we should start learning this stuff like 3, 4, 5 years old.
Well, and it's so true. And I had another friend that I went to church with, and she said the same kind of thing to me. She said, my mom badmouthed my dad so much. And she said, it didn't make me dislike him, it made me dislike her. And so I think it's just, again, we never know what other people's struggles are, even with my exes or whatever. They had their own struggles, they had their own things that they were dealing with and working through. And so my job is to do the best that I can for my kids and to make them know that they are loved and so important. And I'm telling you, the grandbaby thing, there is nothing better.
Yeah, and one of the things is like my daughter, she always says she may adopt because there's so many kids out there, and that will be something that we would even it's going to be more of a challenge to make sure that we really show, not challenge to show that kid that we love them, but to make sure that we're not talking, judging their parents that chose to give them life by giving them, up for adoption and
Right.
things like that. And we are a mixed society of, so many things that weren't like they were. Well, now they're more known. Maybe they were like things years ago, but the thing is, like, social media portrays things a lot differently now. I mean,
Mm,
there's a lot of things like the way that our technology is, all the things, the DNA testing, all the stuff is just a lot different than it was 40, 50 years ago. And so I think that that's also something that is a challenge as well, that a person's a person, just love on them.
exactly. Exactly.
And so you do tell me a little bit about your coaching programs and what the different types of methods of coaching that you do. Do you do group coaching? Do you do individual coaching? What kind of coaching do you do for your clients?
I do both. So I do group coaching, and then I do some one-on-one coaching. I had um, a one-on-one with a husband and a wife. So they're together, but they were really struggling. And what was really just to share this a little bit, so my husband and I had done lots and lots of counseling, lots and lots of couples counseling. And the last time that we did it, and we were never successful with it. And the last time we did it, it was so bad. I'm just gonna say it was so bad that like we had one session left. We had paid like for a group of sessions, and I said, I actually like want my money back, and I don't want to do this anymore. And I said to him, where we are is where we are. It's just, it is what it is. Like, I wasn't saying I wanted to get it divorced. I was just saying, like, I don't know what else to do. And so and at the same time, I was going through the coaching, and he could see such a difference in me that, and I had said to him, I said, I'm never asking you to do another thing again. I'm not going to ask you to, do any more counseling, read a book, watch it, nothing. I'm not going to ask you to do another thing. But he could see such a difference in me that when my coach said, well, I do couples coaching, I was like, really? And so after I said I was never going to ask him to do another thing, I mentioned to him, hey, she does couples coaching. And he was very interested just because he could see that difference. And what I love about the coaching kind of that for me was different than the counseling was that I feel like there was a lot more accountability. I remember our counselor just said to me one time, you just have to deal with that. And I didn't want to deal with that. And part of our coaching is stop dealing, start healing. So when she used those words, I thought it was very interesting. And I thought, I actually don't want to deal with it. And so, it's been really great because they have both really grown, my couple that I'm doing. And then I will have some courses on co-parenting as well. So that's going to be, I think that's so important. It's just so important. And if you can get both families, both parents on board with that, but even if you can't, I mean, to do it yourself, because it's just, you can make such a huge difference just yourself.
I think what you said is so that is important is that you have a couple who your coaching doesn't just mean just because it's divorce coaching doesn't mean that they have to be divorced. Like if it's a couple who's struggling, that you can help them as well. And I really love the thing about co-parenting because nowadays there's a lot of things that blended families and things like that, and maybe people never got married but they had children, and making sure that you're not putting the child in the middle and helping them to learn how to just love that child and not hate each other so that whatever your feelings are, leave that out of the child. Like don't let them see those types of things. I think that's important. So tell us a little bit, you have these blogs that you do as well. Where can people find these blogs at?
So my blog is Gina Nichols blog, and then I have my website, Gina Nichols Coaching, which I think you can find it there as well. And then on social media, Instagram is Gina Nichols Coaching. And then I have a fun little Instagram that I do kind of fun little lifestyle things that is how I sort of got started in all of that. And that's Gina Lynn Nichols. So that's been really fun. I get to do that with my daughter, and we make all kinds of fun videos. And so
I think that's so that you have a balanced life, right?
yes.
You do your coaching, but you also have fun and you help others. And I think that's so important. And I just love how you shine. You're just always have this beautiful smile and just full of life. And so I really appreciate that. But before we close out though, I would love for my listeners, I mean, we're about refine and shine, right? And so what is a word, a book, a phrase, something or an action that my listeners can take today in order for them to refine and shine? Maybe they're struggling with loving themselves. Maybe they're struggling with just anything. Just think of something that comes to mind.
Well, I am going to jump on the bandwagon with this. I love the book, The Let Them Theory, and maybe other people have mentioned that too, but it is so powerful. It's just so powerful. And it really, lends itself to this work so much, because it's all about people are going to do what they're going to do. And you just have to let them do that. But then you have to let yourself, you have to then choose as well. Right. So that's been really, really powerful. And I think that should also be required reading when we're really young, like high school. I just think it's so huge. But I just say that divorce is not the end. My program is called Divorce Redefined, because I'm trying to dispel the shame around it. And so it's not the end of it might be the end of a relationship, but it's not the end of you. And it's just a chance to start over and have a new beginning and recreate a life that feeds into you, whether that's with a partner or not.
I love what you just, I mean, I love both of the things that you shared. Is one, I kind of knew you were going to say that book, just because you got me turned on to that book and I enjoyed reading it. Actually, have it right here. But and that's some of the things as you're talking, like we're going to go through things in life. Whether and having it in high school, maybe even middle school would be such a great book to read, because giving it to your children, your preteens, because there's going to be people that judge, and we talked about that at the beginning of the call. People are going to judge no matter what, and just let them judge you, and don't lose sleep over it. Because one of the things I've learned, if something happens in my life, or I posted something, or I said something wrong, or anything like that, now I have a podcast, so it's on there forever. But if if somebody doesn't remember, if they don't, if they're not going to remember it, and whatever you said in 10 minutes, 10 years from now, or whatever, like, why are you losing sleep over it? Like,
Yes.
so that's really important. Like, just let it go. The other thing that I think is important is that how you said redefining, and it's redefining, it's not the end of you if you got a divorce, or end of a relationship. And I think that that's so important, because people think, I have, like I said, lots of people I've known who've, I've been married 3, 4 times. Before I met you, there was a lot of people out there, and they were so shameful of it. And it's like, it is what it is. And it's not the end. And sometimes relationships don't work. People change.
Mhm.
I will say that even though I've been married to my high school sweetheart, it has not been easy.
Oh.
It has been hard at times. And especially with health issues and all the other things, raising kids, coming from two different types of families, it's hard. And it's just, and as we change and things happen in life, it's like, it's not doesn't mean it's the end of you. You can still learn how to love yourself and be the person that you're meant to be.
Well, and I think it's so important too that if you do get divorced, to do that work, right? Because otherwise you keep repeating the same cycle, which is what I did. And I think too, like I look at it though, like I have my beautiful children, my grandbabies. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything, because I wouldn't have them if I would have changed something. So I wouldn't change anything, but also I think it would have been great to do that healing work to then not struggle for so long.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Um, you just brought me back to something when we were younger, when my parents were getting divorced. I remember it. And the things that, I just wish that my mom had done some of that, or both parents actually, not just my mom, like both parents could have did some healing work at that time, because I think it was so important. But and my mom always said that no matter what had happened, the relationship, whatever, she got married very young, that she didn't regret her kids. And that was always something that I remember, like things. And my parents, like they hang out together. They've been divorced, I don't know, 30 years, maybe. Yeah, probably 30 years. And or more, I don't know. And but they're friends. Like it wasn't easy, but they're friends. They can do things, we can do things as a family. And I think that's so important, that and that as we go through relationships or whatever happens in our lives, if we go through divorce or whatever, that we let our kids know that we can still be able to be adults and be in the same room with each other. I think that's so important.
Yes. Yes.
Did you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, I thank you for being on, and I'll make sure that I have all your links in the show notes, and so that people will follow you and follow your LinkedIn and all the things too as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.